Yeah, I heard a quote from a guy named Soul of Jarrett. I'm not sure if you know
Hmm?
who that is.
Yeah,
Oh
he's a
yeah.
cool guy.
Yeah. I had him on my show like a year ago, pretty much exactly. And he said something in this episode that said, if you don't know what you're passionate about, find your biggest pain and make that your passion. And it sat with me for like, I don't know, 7 months. And then one day I was like, I had just jerked off and I was like, man, this is my biggest pain. And I was like, oh, I remember this, this quote from Jarrett. And so finally I was like, huh, what if I just try to help people? Because it's like, I don't want to ever jerk off again. I want to be known as the guy who doesn't jerk off, doesn't watch porn. And so there we go. And now I'm kind of doing it. And it seems like I want to ask your story. What was your biggest pain and why are you driven to do this and help men online?
Well, what's really strange is I also remember going on your page and I saw a post where you decided to talk about porn in your friend group, and it was kind of like a taboo thing, and you were like, you know what, maybe if I bring it up, that could spark something. And then you said, hey guys, I struggle with using porn a lot and jacking off. And then it like chain reaction. Like the next person was like, "Oh yeah, me too." And the next person was like, "Oh yeah, me too." And then we're all having this open conversation because you injected it first, right? So in my life, I've always been somebody who's had high awareness, a self-awareness, but also an awareness of what's going on around me. When I was a lot younger, growing up, becoming a teenager, getting older, I didn't really have all the answers to why things were happening. I just knew that things were happening. I would
Sure.
see beautiful, positive things in life, but I would also see really troublesome and painful interactions with people, my family, this weird situations that didn't add up. When you're a kid, you're innocent. You feel like, hey, everything should just be good. Like we should all just love each other. Things should be great. Everything should make sense. And
Yeah.
it seemed logical to me. So when things didn't add up in that manner, I was dumbfounded. So going back to like the pain aspect, I always wanted to know why things happened exactly the way they did. Why are people this way? Why do they talk this way? Why do people have relationships and interact this way? Why is the world the way that it is? Why am I the way that I am? It's like my blueprint. So when people ask me like why do I do this kind of work, I really don't have another option. I tell people all the time, your purpose is not something you do. It's not an activity. It's how you are built to show up in the world and how you perceive and how you think that's different from others. The very manner in which you perceive life is your purpose. You have an angle, a slice of the pie that other people don't have. And for me, it was always to figure out how and why things worked. That's just my lens. I took it to everything, to my own self, to my schooling, to my activities, to my woman, my relationship, to life itself. That's why I'm spiritual now, because I just want to figure everything out. So I'm on this path of figuring things out, and the person who seeks, the answer will be revealed to them. Like knock and the door shall open type of thing. And then the seeker always ends up becoming the teacher at the end of the day because it's a natural progression. It's like two sides of the same coin. So I'm always the guy who wants to know why things work, and if I don't understand that, I feel like something's fundamentally wrong with me. Everybody has that one aspect or quirk where if they feel like if I don't have this, my entire reality is gone, like effed up. So because of that, I know that this is how I'm built. I couldn't turn it off if I tried. I have to know why everything works, man. I have to at the highest level. It's just who I am. So because that's my 24/7 thought process, I just decided to turn that into a line of work because I was going to do it anyway. People would ask me for advice anyways. I would be mentoring people anyways. So I'm like, all right, well, if this is the one thing that I cannot turn off, it makes sense that I make this a stream of income because it makes me feel purposeful, makes me feel alive, it helps other people. And like it takes no effort on my part. It's just who I'm built to be. So why not make money off of something that takes no effort on your part? That's the way that I look at it. If something's aligned with
Sure.
yourself and your purpose, that means you will be able to sustain it indefinitely.
It's a good
Yeah,
answer. I like that. Don't have
appreciate it.
another option.
I
Yeah,
really
that's
don't.
interesting.
I've tried other options, and it's just, every time it just causes massive suffering. A lot of times, people like a lot of my clients are trying to figure out what they're trying to do and how to think and how to move forward with their life, choose a career, what have you. There's a lot of different ways to dig it, but I'm just like, hey, what's that part of you that you cannot turn off? No matter how hard you try, it's so fundamental. Get acquainted with that. Notice it. Make space to notice it if you just don't know. And then that will start leading you to the path.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And when did you first notice that you were kind of a mentor-like figure to people? When did you, like, were you a mentor to even older people in your life? I'm just curious.
Yeah, a lot more recently. I have some older clients. One of my best friends now. He's like just turned 58 earlier this year.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and he's just like he's like a wise grandpa. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool dude. You know, childlike at heart, but been through some crazy stuff. And he came to me and my business partner back in the day so that he could develop his coaching business and so that he could figure out how to align himself in what he was. He was already coaching, but he wanted to like take it to the next level. And we taught him about how to do the inner work. He was already really good at self-discipline and personal development. There's just some small internal tweaks. Some people just don't know what they don't know, just like us. We don't know what we don't know. That's why it's wise to have somebody who is in sort of a position that you would like to be in so they can mentor you. But when I first learned... I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I'm serious. I don't know when this happened. I just feel like I've been on a roller coaster of events that led me to this point. All I know is that I cannot stop seeking the answer. And therefore, speaking the message was rather natural. And the more I spoke the message, because like this makes sense to me, I just wanted to be like, hey man, if this is going on, and then this is why, and then this is the answer, and then this situation. And just extrapolating that is what causes me to attract people to want to know what's up. When you really understand what you're talking about, you don't really have to think that hard. People are always wondering, hey, how do I do public speaking? How do I speak in front of large amounts of people? How do I sound confident? How do I show up a certain way? It's really, like, if you really know what you're talking about and you really mean it, you don't have to worry about the particulars. They will fall into line because you're speaking what truth is. And the truth is what cuts through. So I'm like, my truth was just speaking how I thought and how I figured things out. I wasn't always so confident as I am now, but I always had that essence of like, this is what it is. I just put my whole life in this. So people can feel my reality. They can feel that I mean this. And then they're more inclined to listen. That's really, I think, what it is. I remember one time I was in high school. I was just chilling at the park next to my school after class had got out. Sitting there at the bench. Some girl, maybe a year younger than me, walks up, just sits next to me. She starts telling me her life story and about like this, like the stuff that happens, and I'm just here like listening, like okay, cool, what's going on? Oh, I'm asking her questions, trying to help her out, and then once that conversation is over, I'm like, this doesn't even know me. She just comes up here and starts like, oh, I just feel like I can trust you. That's what she said. It's like, I just feel like I was supposed to tell you. I don't know. I just feel like... I'm like, okay. God's just throwing signs at me. Universe is like, here you go. Here you go. And then after all that time, I just got the message. Like, hey, stop messing around. You have a job to do. This is what you are. Take it seriously. And I think while acknowledging that and consciously going after it, intentionally, that's what really catapulted my journey.
Interesting. Man, that's a great story. And when you were saying, just bringing it back to the whole, when you're saying something that is true, you don't always have to be hyper prepared or scripted, because when it's true, it will fall into place in a sense. It's like, whenever I'm doing a presentation or a solo podcast or anything that I've been journaling about, or I'm up in front of a class or something, it's like, I don't have to script it. I don't have to look at my notes, because it's something that I just am feeling. And it's so interesting how humans work, where it's like, well, if you're able to speak about something that you're passionate about, things will fall into place. And it's almost like a magic. It's like, I don't even know what I would explain it as, but it's like, as you're speaking, like right now, I don't fully know what's going to come out of my mouth, but I do know that I can trust myself and that I say things that are true, and that I normally try to say things humbly with love And that kind of combo, normally, like, those are kind of my two goals. Like, I don't want to sound too arrogant, and I also want to say it in a way that, like, will help someone and help myself. And when you kind of have some axioms that are kind of like cemented, you don't always have to worry about what you're saying. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's like, it's almost as if I can, once I put those planted into the ground, I can just speak confidently because I know deep down I care about people and I do care about what's true and I really like helping people. So yeah, I can fully relate there.
I really like that, bro. That's the essence of what it means to do any of the things that we're up to. Your genuine character is such that you don't have to trip off the extremities. Like, isn't it so beautiful